My name is Karen Balcom, and I'm an associate professor of history at McMaster University, and I also teach regularly in the program in gender studies and feminist research. In GSFR, I usually teach the graduate course in research methods, and I almost always teach our first-year course on women transforming the world. My own work is as an historian trained in the study of women's and gender history, working on both Canada and the United States. So I tell my students that one of the things that feminism offers, or contemporary feminism offers, is a model for thinking about alliances across difference. If we really want to develop social movements that are going to increase our quantum of social justice in the world, then we have to tackle thorny, interconnected, intersectional issues, and that's going to involve working in alliance with people who are situated very differently than ourselves. We know from past histories of feminism, and in fact from many movements for social change, that we have a problem when we assume that all of us are the same. If we assume, for example, in the case of feminism, that all women are the same, that they have the same interests, and that therefore feminist activism is one thing that will serve one sort of woman, that has not had the most productive outcomes. In fact, it's produced focuses that are very narrow and have been exclusionary. So therefore, I always tell my students that coming out of those histories of exclusion and those places in feminist histories where we have not been good about thinking about difference is the first place we have to begin. So in that class, we work a lot with the work of an Australian feminist theorist named Ian Ang. And Ian Ang argues that, in fact, as a crucial first step, feminism has to stop thinking about itself as the natural home for women. And instead, the way we should think about feminist and feminist activism is that feminists need to adopt what she calls a self-conscious politics of partiality. That we understand we are not all the same, we understand our intersectional positions, and we understand our cross-cutting differences, and we look for the places where we can form in supportive alliance. Now, on the one hand, it might seem kind of counterintuitive to say the way you get to alliance is by emphasizing difference. But in fact, what we've learned through a lot of feminist theorizing is that a deep recognition of difference is the necessary precursor for alliance. We can't form effective alliance that's going to be inclusionary and that is going to lead us towards the maximum of social justice without beginning from that place of recognizing difference. So if we begin from what might seem somehow a limited space, that politics of partiality, that is actually what lets us get to the biggest set of possibilities for feminism. So when we're teaching that first-year course, we go from Ian Ang and the politics of partiality to the Canadian Aboriginal theorist and feminist Lena Sunseri, who has a definition of feminism and feminist activism that I really love and work with. So Sunseri tells us that if we could all come to understand feminism as a theory and movement that wants to fight all forms of oppression, including racism and colonialism, then we could see it as a struggle for unity among all oppressed women and men. It is this meaning of feminism that I accept, and therefore call myself a feminist without reservation. And what I really love in that is the big vision, but also the emphasis on the struggle for unity. Unity doesn't just happen. Unity doesn't mean we're all the same. A struggle for unity is built on a deep recognition of difference, and that deep recognition of difference is how we get to alliance. And a self-conscious politics of partiality, a self-conscious sense of what alliance is and why it's necessary, is what we need to produce and to support intersectional movements for social justice.